Welcome back to the Lowdown Podcast. I'm Alex.
Alex, no, that's not what we're recording today.
Oh yeah, old habits die hard. Welcome to the State of Sigma Kappa. Today we're going to review Sigma Kappa's last year.
So let's go ahead and get started. Sigma Kappa now has more than 175,000 members, 102 alumni chapters, and 122 collegiate chapters.
And here's how our membership has grown over the last year.
And look at that increase in average GPA. Let's talk about some wins for our alumni members over the past year. This year we've hosted Connect events throughout the country, allowing our alumni members to gather and meet one another that they may not have known otherwise.
Another way we've been fostering connecting is through the virtual cooking club that allows members to share recipes and food ideas.
But let's talk about the babies.
Finally.
At Convention 2018, we launched Legacy Link, which lets legacies connect to Sigma Kappa at a young age. Gifts include bibs, stickers, coloring books, and lanyards, and those were all sent out in October.
And we also updated the legacy policy so great-granddaughters and step-great-granddaughters are also granted legacy status.
And while we absolutely love our legacies, we do want to celebrate our members' accomplishments as well, which is why we launched 35 Under 35 that was announced in December. We received some amazing nominations from that.
Some of our recipients ranged from Emmy-nominated news producers to immigration attorneys to collegiate member who founded her own nonprofit. They have some incredible stories, and if you haven't already read about them, you should definitely check out the latest edition of the Sigma Kappa Triangle.
Our second Spring Thing winner was also announced, and she won a trip to Maine for her and a friend. I cannot wait to see pictures from that, from her time at Colby to eating a lobster and all the other fun Northeastern things to do up there.
Speaking of going to new places, Sigma Kappa was selected to extend to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. These women are incredible.
They really are.
Embry-Riddle is the largest and most respected university specializing in aviation and aerospace.
Besides just this new extension, you probably heard we had a pretty big extension last year. In 2018, we reestablished the Alpha Omega chapter at the University of Alabama. This project was 2 years in the making, and a lot of volunteer hours across all of our entities went into making this successful.
Roll Tide.
#RTR. This was our largest extension ever, and these sisters were initiated in November 2018 and then celebrated with an installation banquet in February 2019.
There were a ton of new initiatives that have been launched since convention.
One of the initiatives I am most excited about is our new partnership with the online counseling service Talkspace, because it really shows that we're dedicated to our members' mental well-being.
I feel like this is the perfect time to mention the Lowdown Podcast, which Sigma Kappa launched in January and focuses on topics like health, wellness, fraternity and sorority community, and life skills that women need in all stages of their lives. Be sure to follow @TheLowdownPod on Instagram.
The Live with Heart facilitator team launched in the fall with 12 facilitators who have already visited 11 chapters. Another thing I'm really excited about is the new ritual resources that were released in November.
Just in time for Founders Day. These included re-recorded ritual music, now available on the website, and more than a dozen new workshops and games to help our members become more familiar with Sigma Kappa ritual. We also rolled out Open Hearted, a commitment to diversity and inclusion, along with our updated pledging policy, and introduced a diversity and inclusion chairman role for our collegiate chapters. And we have several other task forces and work groups. Sarah, walk us through them.
We have the MPC Governance Task Force, the Chapter Advancement Program Task Force, the Ritual and Inclusivity Task Force, the Alumni Chapter Experience Work Group, and finally, the Automatic Financial Suspension Task Force.
That was great. I'll give you a break and run through some of the events we had over the last year. Obviously, we should start with Convention, which was hosted in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Jumping forward to November, we of course celebrated Founders Day on November 9th, but leading up to it, we encouraged all of our members, including alumni, to participate in Week of Giving. Next up was the Regional Leadership Conferences, which more than 2,000 collegiate officers and volunteers attended in 6 cities. In April, our members participated in the 3rd Annual Day of Service. Next, we had collegians lobbying for issues related to preserving the fraternity and sorority experience on Capitol Hill. And last, all 3 entities met to continue to foster collaboration between the boards.
Going back to Day of Service, it was a little bit different this year. We had a couple of city-based service events in Louisville, Chicago, Portland, Houston, Atlanta, and Denver. And throughout this last year, we've had some major chapter anniversaries. Shout out to the Upsilon chapter at Oregon State University, Tall chapter at Indiana University, and Phi chapter at University of Rhode Island, all three of which who celebrated their centennials this past academic year.
100 years of sisterhood.
That is insane.
It's incredible. Finally, the NHC had their biannual housing conference in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Speaking of the NHC, they completed 11 housing projects and are managing 9 summer projects. Additionally, they completed new construction on Theta Phi chapter at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and started new construction on Gamma Phi chapter at North Carolina State University.
And they secured housing for Tau chapter at Indiana University and the Alpha Omega chapter at the University of Alabama. Their Homes program is also managing 11 corporations, which provides all of the management functions for the local chapter house.
The NHC is doing something pretty cool. They've implemented a new mentor program for housing coordinators by pairing new and experienced coordinators together.
And how amazing is this? The NHC took it upon themselves to grant the sorority $30,000 to help fund Talkspace services for our collegians through the end of the academic year.
And finally, besides just helping to fund Talkspace, they also designated $95,000 for private spaces and participant corporation houses for members to safely discuss mental health issues, so they are committed.
Finally, so much of what we do would not be possible without grants from the Sigma Kappa Foundation and generous donors like you. The foundation granted the sorority the largest grant ever, $216,000 for leadership and educational programming, which was put towards convention, regional leadership conferences, the Leadership Consultant Program, and Talkspace.
They provided more than $107,000 in scholarships, provided 13 members with Alumni Heart Fund and Collegiate Emergency Grants, provided 5 1874 Giving Circle grants for fall 2019 projects, sent 9 sisters to UIFI and AFLV Leadership conferences, and were able to give a $10,000 grant to the Maine Seacoast Mission for the Housing and Rehabilitation Program.
Finally, thanks to all the Sigma Kappas who fundraised for the Walk to End Alzheimer's, we were able to collectively raise more than $1 million for the 3rd year in a row.
Amazing.
We're excited to set the $1 million goal for 2019.
Even more amazing. But there's even more that the foundation is doing. Sigma Kappa's first ever capital campaign, Shared Hearts, New Heights, a campaign for Sigma Kappa, provides needed resources as we transform the lives of our alumni and collegians for generations to come. The foundation has $700,000 left to raise for the leadership priority of the campaign.
It's been an incredible year to be a Sigma Kappa. And as always, there's more to come.
Here are some exciting new initiatives that are on the horizon.
You can find all of this on the show notes page.
No, Alex, still not a podcast.
Got it. Thanks for listening, and thank you for all you do to support Sigma Kappa.